So let's talk a little bit about how the Jumpstart Pro Android notification system works. One of the biggest benefits of having a mobile native app is the ability to utilize the notification system. This allows you to re-engage your users at an interval that you can define. Perhaps there is an action, a new message, something like that, and you want to notify them. Push notifications are a humongous win in regards to mobile native apps. And in fact, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why a lot of companies really want the mobile native experience, is that native notification. So that is built in already inside of Jumpstart Pro Android. It's ready to be supported. Inside of your Rails app, you can send a notification via Firebase cloud messaging, and it will automatically show up inside of the app. When the user taps on it, they'll be taken to the URL that's present inside of that notification. But how does this work, and how is it all wired up inside of Android? A few things have to happen. So let's go over and take a look at a sequence diagram so you can fully understand how this works with Android and Jumpstart Pro. Okay, so here we have a sequence diagram that has three different components. We have the app, we have the server, and we have Firebase. The first thing that happens is the application will log in. The user is going to log into the app, and then the server is just going to send back a notification saying, hey, you're logged in. Now at this point in time, the user is going to start visiting pages on the app. As soon as the application is loading, what ends up happening is the server recognizes, oh, the user's logged in via Hotwire Native app. Okay, we're going to add a Hotwire Native bridge component to the actual page itself, letting the app know, hey, you need to do something. In this case, it is a notification token bridge component. And basically all it does is it just sends a connect saying, hey, you should register for a notification token. You are now logged in. We're ready to do this. At this point in time, the native implementation of the notification bridge component gets invoked from the Hotwire native bridge component system. It gets invoked and says, oh, okay, I can go do something. So now you're in native code. At this point in time, the application will communicate with the Firebase library that's included and ask Firebase, hey, I need a notification token. So it requests one from Firebase. It goes up to Firebase goes off, does this thing, recognizes it needs a unique notification token for this app, this device, and sends back a notification token. It says, hey, here's your token. In this example, I say it's ABC123. This is the notification token that uniquely identifies this app, this device, etc. Now, once we have that token back here, we then tell the application then says, hey, server, I need you to store this notification token so you can send me notifications later on, because the notifications don't actually originate in the app. They originate on the server. And so, the server at that point will take the notification token for the currently logged in user, say, okay, let me save it for you. It saves it in its list of notification tokens. Now remember, a user could be logged in on multiple different apps. They could be logged on an iOS instance. They could be logged in on their Android instance. They could be logged in on a tablet. They could be logged in on an iPad, wherever. So there could be multiple places. So they could have multiple tokens associated to them, which is fine because you're going to log in, you're going to log out from one device or another. So now some time passes, whatever happens, and your server then decides that it needs to send a notification to the user. So what ends up happening is the server, some action is invoked, and it goes up to Firebase cloud messaging and says, hey, I need you to send this hello world message to the app that has the token ABC123. Then at that point in time, Firebase says, no problem, I got you. Firebase will then take that and say, okay, I've got this token, and I'm going to go ahead and notify the app. It has a connection mechanism to do that. It then sends that notification directly to your app, and your app picks that up on what's known as a Jumpstart messaging service. This is a background service that's kind of running and sort of monitoring and waiting to be told, hey, something's happening. We received a new message. So what ends up happening is the new message comes in. The Jumpstart messaging service says, oh, hey, I've got a new notification. It then parses that notification and displays that notification directly in the app inside of the menu bar up top where you can get your notifications. Then at that point in time, it stays there until the user does something with it, such as taps on it and opens it up. And then once it taps on it, it opens the URL and launches that URL, which is usually going to be to the server. And then the server is then showing that. So maybe maybe you have a messaging component in your app. Someone sends someone else a message. That notification comes in and say, hey, there's a new message from user X. At that point in time, the user taps on it. It might take them directly to their inbox or directly to that message where they can view it. And again, that's just a URL. It might be /user/messages/ some ID, etc. and then it's displayed inside of your application. And so this is how the notification system works in Jumpstart Pro Android from a sequence-based type of scenario at a high level. But let's go take a look at the code so you can see where it's at. Now, the first thing to note is, where does this happen on the server? So let's actually hop over to the server real fast. Up on the server, we add the bridge notification token component to the data controllers if the user is signed in. If the user signed in, that's great. We then can connect to the notification component. And what this will do is when we're running in a Hotwire native context, the application will then load those components. And so that's going to be inside of the notification token component. And this is located inside of the components package inside of Hotwire Native Android for Jumpstart Pro. So here in the notification token component, when we receive a new message saying, hey, we now are ready to start requesting for a notification token, we'll then automatically go to our notification manager and we'll request that we register for notifications. And inside of here, all we do is some just basic checks to make sure we're logged in and we don't already have a token, because every time we go to a page, it might continually always connect this bridge component. And if we already have a token, we don't need to go get one again. Now, once we determine we need one, we then use the Firebase messaging service and we'll go out there and say, hey, I need a new token. And this is just an abstraction to allow us to easily test. And all it really basically says is, hey, Firebase, get the instance of it. Let's go get a token. And then when you're done, let me know. And that's all we do here is we add a little completion listener. And then once we get the token, we have the token here. There's the token result. We log it so you can take a look at the logs here and you actually see your token that's down here. This one won't be valid, so no need to try to send a message to it. It won't be valid by the time this is live. But you'll see this in your debug log so you can say, oh, I did get a token. So we acquired one, we fetched one, and now I have the token. And then I want to go store this up on the server. So again, this is part of the sequence diagram here. We've logged in, the notification bridge component is said, hey, I need a token. It's gone up to Firebase, it's gone back. We now have this ABC123 inside of this token. Then we're going to send this up to the notification repository. And all this really does is just connect up to the API service and add the notification token. That goes to the notification tokens endpoint in Jumpstart Pro, which is the Rails app, and adds that notification token for us. So this again is going to be right here. It says, okay, I've got my token. And then I send this up to the server saying, hey, please store my token ABC123. And now that the token will, as soon as that comes back, we'll handle the registration results saying, oh, it was a success. Cool. We just log it. We are all done. No need to do anything else. Otherwise, we will notify that there's an error. We'll throw that into the logs. So at this point in time, your application has registered for push notifications. It can now receive them. So at this point in time, something else needs to happen down the line. The server does something, someone sends you a message in the back end and it needs to notify you that this has happened. So the server then sends a message to Firebase Cloud Messaging up on the Rails application of Jumpstart Pro. And this is using the noticed gem. So once that executes, Firebase says, no problem, I'll send the message to this device with this token right here and this app with this token. And then Firebase will connect to the application using the Firebase messaging service. So now we have inside of here, Jumpstart messaging service. This is an Android service that's running in the background. So if we take a look at our Android manifest, we can see, whoops, wrong one. We can see that we have this service block here. And this is the Jumpstart messaging service. So this will run as soon as the application starts. This will start this service and it'll be running in the background. And it was looking for a messaging event to come from Firebase. And inside of the Jumpstart messaging service, when we receive a message, the on message receive will be called. At that point in time, we can then start parsing the message, which is what we do down here, and we get this URL notification key, and then we can do something with that URL. Now, please note, there is a comment here saying this is how the notification can be formatted from Jumpstart Pro. This is the title you'd see in the notification. This is the body of you'd see in the notification, maybe be part of the message. And then the data you send with it would be the URL where you want the user to go when they tap on this message. So here, all we're going to do is get that URL. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that URL and we're going to take all of the information that we have here and we're going to send it up and send this notification. This notification is then going to have its message ID, its URL, etc. We're going to use the title and the body of the message as our notification, and we're just going to send the notification directly inside of the app. And now the app would have a notification up here in the top, just like we kind of see these notifications up at the top right here. So now the notification is valid, and it's active, and it's ready to be consumed. So when the user taps on it, well, what happens now? This will be launched inside the main activity, and we can view that by looking at this intent right here. So there's a lot going on here. What we do is we have to set up an intent inside of Android, and an intent is a way to start an activity. And we're basically saying when we want to send this notification that you need to start the main activity, we provide it some information like the uptime. We provide it with additional information like the key, the ID, then we set the title and the body of the notification. And then finally, we do notify and we send that notification. So back inside of the main activity, we can look at on new intent, because if it's already been started, we will get a new intent. Otherwise, this will be called anyway. So inside of the on new intent, we'll say process intent. From here, we can pull this notification URL key or get an empty value. And then we check to make sure that the URI and the message ID is not empty. And then we send it to the view model so we can do a little processing. And inside of here, what we do is check to make sure we haven't processed this notification already, because we don't want multiple notifications to be continually processed for whatever reason. So if we've already processed this notification, then we're going to go ahead and skip out of that. Otherwise, we're going to say that this last notification URL value is equal to this. So if we look at this here, where is this used? If we're going to say find usages, we'll see the value is red, and this is going to be the notification URL. And this is going to be something that can be subscribed to and is subscribed to back in the main activity. So we've got a little layer of indirection. On new intent gets called, we go over to the view model to say, hey, check to see if it's processed. If it's not, okay, notify anyone who wants to be notified of the new URL that was passed in from this intent. From here, the main activity says, I want to be notified of when a new notification URL comes in. It comes in and then it routes directly to that URL. So at this point in time, the app would then redirect to whatever that URL would be. So maybe if someone sent a message, it would redirect them to the message of the actual user itself. So the user's been redirected, but what about the notification? Does it stay active? And if we go back to the Jumpstart messaging service, you'll actually see we have right here, set auto cancel. So as soon as user taps on the notification, we will start the processing of it. And as soon as they tap it, we will auto cancel it. So we'll just automatically get rid of it. So you don't have to handle worrying about, did we delete the notification? Did we not? It's already being automatically dismissed for you. And that is how the Jumpstart Pro Android notification and messaging services work in conjunction.